Howdy, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. This is Professor Parks, PhD, and kind of wanted to do another little mental health video. My health has not been great over the last couple weeks. Surprise, surprise. I'd probably put it on the 8.0 on the depression Richter scale. And the thought that goes to my head is that I've only got myself to blame, but I know that that's not great self-talk. But the reason why I say that is because of triggers. Now, I don't typically like that word, particularly since it is now being used as a sort of an attack. When you say someone has been triggered, you say that in a negative connotation, and you basically are inferring or implying that the person who is triggered is somehow weaker, somehow not emotionally as robust as you, that they should not have been triggered by whatever it is you've said. But triggered is a clinical term, and so I will use it for this. Now, my depressions in the past have been random in the sense that I could not point to an inciting incident as to why it was that I woke up feeling like absolute dog shit and stayed that way for days or weeks on end. But that's not always the case. Sometimes, like this time, there is a very, at this point, I want to say obvious trigger. I know that in the past, whenever my semester winds down, so do I. When my semester ends, I shut down. I know this about myself. Yet, for some reason, I continue to not really listen or not really pay much attention. And what happens, particularly the transition between spring to fall or spring to summer, is, my life, for better or for worse, is primarily my work. Those people I interact with almost exclusively are work, either students or work colleagues or what have you. And so when the semester ends, so does my need to go into the office, my immediate need to go into the office. So does my ability to interact with folks. And so I become very isolated very quickly. And also there is the component of, it takes a good deal of emotional energy for me to get up every day, do things, battle, and so forth. And so when I don't have to go in, when I have, I guess, a vacation, I essentially double down on it. I think one of the reasons why I haven't really taken the proper precautions is because I am so, it's so nice to be able to unwind. It's so nice to be able to just decompress. And I think that's, obviously that's natural. Well, I think everyone follows that or has experienced that in one sense or another. But what happens and where my illness needs to be mitigated or kept in check, where my self-care needs to be improved, is I take it too far. I take it to the dysfunctional level. I completely shut down. I stop looking at email. I stop looking at Discord. I stop. Essentially, there are a few triggers, primarily related to my job and my personal life, that if they pop up, if I notice that they pop up either through text message or through email notification, I will immediately sort of pop out. It gives me enough impetus to pop out of things. But that's a very small list. And this last Sunday, I neglected an obligation for my job, which is not something that, which is not a first time occurrence. I've done this in the past for the exact same reason. Being in this sort of depressed mental state, I shut off, I shut down, I isolate, and it didn't even occur to me that this particular meeting was happening Sunday night. As far as I know, my director covered for me, which I need to thank him very much for, but it happened, and it just adds to the shame that I feel. Reason why I'm going through all this, reason why I'm saying this is, obviously part of this is therapeutic for me, but also I want it out there that if you are a type of person like myself who has these obvious triggers that lead to some kind of dysfunction, that lead to, for me, as I said, I shut down, I isolate, and things just get darker and darker and darker. I just fall deeper and deeper, deeper into that well, until something happens to kick me out of it. And half of this battle, half of the struggle that I have, I think a good portion of this battle, I think, could be more easily dealt with or more easily fought if I would just do what people have told me, what therapists have told me, what books have told me from essentially day one, which is, well, maybe day 3, which is identifying the triggers. Look at the things in my life that I know will lead me to depressive episodes, will lead me to shutting off, shutting down, and then putting in safety nets to help me not go down that path, not fall down so quickly. I don't know if these safety nets will be enough to prevent any kind of depressive episode. But the fact that I'm not putting in any safety nets whatsoever is really not responsible for me. I don't feel that I'm being responsible. I don't feel that I am being taking good care of myself, and in so doing, I am letting myself down. I am letting my colleagues down. I'm letting those who care about me down. And so I guess the message is that what I'm going to do is what I hope to do, and folks can remind me if they want, maybe ask me to comment every so often, have you done it? What I would like to do is I'd like to sit down and identify those general triggers, those big ones, those ones where, like I said, when I go into a situation where I'm going to be socially isolated, where my normal avenues of interacting with folks, when that goes away, when that peters off for one reason or another, I know when these periods are going to come, because again, it's in my semester it comes in the middle of semesters and so forth, on breaks like Thanksgiving break or winter break, that sort of thing. And to first identify them. And there are other triggers that I have that I need to, such as posting videos. Posting videos is a large emotional investment for me. Hi, Lenny. And not in a depressive sort of way. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And sometimes because of my bipolar, it actually sends me something into a hypomania. But my point is that it does so pretty much all the time, that I get charged every time that I make a video. And that can also lead to dysfunction. And Looney, I would really appreciate that you not choose violence and not knock over my camera. I know it probably smells really, really cool, but you've already chosen violence this week. Get off. Thank you. Sorry about that. So I'd like to go through my life and try to identify these triggers, because somehow over the course of decades, I haven't actually done that. I can tell you sort of after the fact, but I've never really actually sat down and listed them off, listed and said, hey, these are the things that make me emotionally dysfunctional, or no, these are the things that will lead me to become dysfunctional. And what I mean by dysfunctional is that I don't fulfill my obligations. I shut off. I engage in behaviors that are not healthy. So identify these things and then try to figure out a way of setting up safety nets. Now, that is something that I've struggled with pretty much all the time. I don't know. Asking for help is not so much of a problem for me in the sense that I can ask for help, but only if I have a game plan. If I go to someone specifically, I want you to do this for me, or help me do this, or this and this, or what have you, that is far easier for me to ask for help than rather than just to, shout out into the void, hey, I need some help. Because, obviously folks who do not suffer like I do, they have no idea what my experience is. And so they have really no idea how to help, and I shouldn't, and I don't expect them to. Even those who do suffer or have bipolar, they, because they aren't living my life, they aren't living under my own circumstances, they too probably don't have, I don't expect them to understand what I'm going through or what I need. So now identify the triggers and then put in safety nets for mitigating that. And in so doing, it occurs to me that I need to set, what is it? Where do I want to be when these things happen? Kind of like a goal. Kind of like, obviously there is the goal of, hey, stop ignoring emails. But to me, that's, and I've worked with therapists in the past, and they've set up a thing of, write down what goals you want to meet. It was in a different context, but that's essentially the idea. And those goals can be as straightforward as look at your email every day, take a shower every day, things of that nature. And I will certainly write those down, but I think that for me, what is even more key, because I have a hard time justifying to myself why I should do this at all. Because again, it goes back to, if I think I'm a piece of shit, then why would I want to help someone who's a piece of shit? So to me, it goes into, what kind of mindset do I want to be in during this time? What kind of mindset can I expect to be in? Because obviously it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows when part of my support network just gets cut on, my legs get cut out from under me at the end of every semester. So it is going to be a struggle. So I have to have reasonable expectations. I need to have goals or I need to have a reasonable expectation of how I want to feel during those times. And I think it's a reasonable explanation, or a reasonable expectation, for me not to feel like complete dog shit, not to have a depressive episode reaching, 8.0. Again, I don't know exactly what that looks like, and that's something I'm going to have to think about. But so this is, and I really wish I could hypnotize myself so they never say the word "so" ever again. I think it is very important for someone who has a disability. I think it's very important for myself, having a disability, to identify those challenges that I have to come to, realize that these are challenges that I have to deal with, that I have to accept, that do not color me any lesser than anyone else. It does not mean that I'm a lesser person because I have these challenges. It simply means that I have them and I want to do the responsible thing and deal with them. And what I mean by deal with them is do whatever I can to minimize the damage it does to my health and to my overall quality of life. And so, yeah, I will try to do that in the future, and hopefully I can get back on track because I've got class, I've got to teach in a couple weeks, and I've got a lot of prep work that I need to do, and I'm behind on things that I would have liked to have done the last couple weeks, but that is where it's at. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for being, if you are part of one of my subscribers, thank you for the support. If you aren't a subscriber, please like, share, and subscribe, or not, completely up to you. But it does mean a lot to me that anyone watches this and hopefully get something out of it. I know I have. So I'm going to go do stuff. I'm going to go walk around and do manual labor because I know that has helped me turn myself around in days past. So, all right. Peace out. Clear skies.